Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be jumping on and talking about something that's going to be really useful to any of those of you who either want to work with a team or have a team and want to work with them better. We're going to be talking about one of the biggest, the most important things that you can do if you are a business owner who struggles with ADHD, and that is delegating. Delegating is not only one of the most important things you can do, but it's also one of the most difficult things that you can do. I work with a lot of clients who are in, the healthcare space, they're in construction, they have a ton of contractors, and they're sort of in this position where they've just become the boss and they're struggling a little bit with that delegation framework for so many reasons. And I'm going to go through some of the biggest reasons we struggle with this because of the way our brains work. And I'm going to go through 5 things you can use to very quickly get things off your plate. And you can actually go ahead and delegate to other people without doing the work of figuring out and talking through exactly what you need to do. Because that's the biggest struggle that people have. Spoiler alert. Okay, so why don't we delegate? There are so many reasons. If you have any more reasons that I'm not thinking about, please go ahead and put those in the chat. But essentially, we don't delegate because we're in this position where we're going, I just think it's going to be easier if I do it myself. I don't think these guys are going to really understand what I'm trying to delegate, how it's going to work. None of these things are possible for me. These are all the reasons that we don't tend to delegate. It's too much work. It's too boring. We feel like we're going to have to write a really long email explaining exactly what we have to do. By the time we've done that, we might as well just do it. And we're going to give it to these guys and they're not going to understand it. And then even if we do go to the trouble of that, it's not even going to be worth it in the end at all. So these are all some of the main reasons that we struggle. And there's actually some research to back up these struggles as well. I've got to bring the research. So in terms of the biggest struggles that we're having here, we're having a dopamine issue. Our dopamine for explaining a task that we're doing is pretty low usually. Sometimes, honestly, I feel like it's right up there with doing my taxes in things that are low dopamine. The other thing that we can have is that it's just really confusing. We don't really understand the task ourselves. It's hard to describe. And the idea of writing down exactly what we're going to do and handing it off to somebody else, that can be a bit difficult. And the third reason is very, very interesting. It's the idea that it's quite emotionally vulnerable. I don't know if you guys have had that experience where it's quite emotionally vulnerable. It's not something that you actually want to go ahead and do. And so this can make it really, really difficult for you to delegate because you're thinking, oh, people are going to see my systems. They're going to see what's going on and how it worked and how it didn't work and how messy I am. I hear this all the time. I have a client who works, in Australia, and she's shout out to you, you know who you are. And she's, building systems, but the business model is really confusing and the organization has been lacking there for a really long time. So building systems to bring on somebody who's going to support her has been a long, long journey. And I think a lot of you guys can, know and understand what that experience is like as well. So let's get into it. What are those 5 things we can do to completely obliterate this struggle, to make delegation easy, simple, not something that drains our dopamine, something we can get off our plate without thinking about it much at all? So the first thing we want to do is we want to use AI. However you feel about AI, it can be particularly helpful in this instance. So whatever system that you have, whether it's GBT, whatever kind of, AI that you're using, what I want you to do is I want you to grab your phone. Let me see if I can grab mine here. And I want you to go ahead and I want you to just talk into the AI system that you have. So for me, I have ChatGPT on my phone. So I would go ahead and it says, how can I help you? And then I would go ahead and I would just hit the audio button and I would talk through, okay, I want to delegate this task. It's using, these systems. And first I do this and then I do this. Can you write it out so that it's got a North Star at the top that says, what we're actually trying to do, what we're actually trying to fix. Then it has a sort of recipe of the different steps. And then at the bottom, it has a checklist. Now, please note, I am not the kind of person who does things in order at all. I will totally just be like, oh, and then we have to do this thing. And actually, 3 steps above, I forgot to mention that we also have to add in this piece. Whatever makes sense, just jump it into, pop it into ChatGPT, press audio, talk to the AI, and that will allow you to get a draft of a system for delegation. And at this point, you might think, but that's not going to be perfect. There's probably going to be a bunch of mistakes. Number one, there's probably going to be less than you think. But number two, that is part of the system. And we'll talk about that in a second. And to give you a sense of this, I actually have a client who works in the healthcare space. And he was thinking, I don't really think this is going to work. I don't think I can send this off to my admin. But once he actually did it, once he actually talked this through with AI, it was really interesting. The AI knew what the healthcare software he was using was, how it worked. So it was actually able to go in and provide quite a lot of detail, much more than you would expect. So put in the details and get that, first pass draft specifically. So there's kind of 2 steps here. One is talk. Just talk to the AI, brain dump as you go. This is what I want. This is what I need. And then let the AI organize it. Say, oh, I need this. And then this is the next step. And this is the step before. Let the AI organize it. Those are kind of the 2 steps that we have in here. Now we have an AI system. Do not, this is super important, do not copy and paste this into a document and then say to yourself, because I've had so many clients do this, say to yourself, okay, great. Thanks for that, Skye. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, edit it later. I'm going to edit it later. I'm going to make it good. And then I'm going to give it to that person once it's ready. You and I both know that it is going to die a death in your documentation. It will never come back. We both know that. If it was going to work, that would have worked already. So do not do that. I want you to hit the copy button and hit the paste button. And I want you to directly paste this into wherever you communicate with your team member. And if you don't have a standing meeting with this person, and you don't have a system for, putting things into a doc to discuss in that standing meeting, that's probably something that we should look at. I work with clients on these kinds of systems all the time. And actually, this is probably a good time to say, if you want a document, a draft of how this whole process works, you want all of these steps, just DM me Delegate or click the link and I will be able to give that to you, no problems. So the next thing you want to do is you want to let your team do it. This is about empowering them. You want to let your team do it. So when I'm doing this, what I will do is I actually have a Notion doc where I put things in, and then I will immediately tag that person. This is a new task. This is my ChatGPT, and they can use it from there. But if you don't even have that, just put it in Slack. Just put it in email. Whatever you want. Just say at the bottom, at the top, hey, name. This is a task I'd really love to give to you. I've let AI draft it out. So there's probably going to be a few errors in there, a few mistakes. If you could please take this AI generated, delegation framework and follow along and see how far you get in doing this task and come to me, book a time with me to ask me any questions you have. So what you've given to that person is you've given them the task of developing the SOP, systems and processes document, for those of you who don't know, for this task. That's what you've done. And that is great because I promise you, if that person is a really good member of your team, they want to take things off your plate. They want to have more tasks. Often what I hear the most from people is that they're in a position where they're like, I wish that my boss would give me more stuff. I want to do a good job. I want to have things to do, but they're gatekeeping everything, saying, no, it's not ready. I'm not allowed to share it with you. And so this can be really, really difficult. So what we want to do is we want to say, hey, this is a brain dump. Yes, this is AI. No, this isn't perfect. Go through, do it, and come to me with any questions. And full disclosure, I have done this with my own team, and they've come to me, and their questions are like, this didn't even make sense. And that's totally fine. They know it's AI. They know it's not me. In many ways, this is actually really great for your team, because if it was you, then they'd be like, oh, this is the boss's system and process doc. I just need to follow it to the letter. I don't even need to think. Whereas when you're setting up a system that is AI generated initially, that people can come and they can say, hey, I know that we're doing it this way, but like, could we do it this other way? Like, I feel like that would be easier and that would make more sense. And you'll be sitting there going, oh, actually, that's a really good idea. I wish I'd been doing that for ages. But because it's the AI, you can just be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That totally is fine, whether or not it was a system that you were using or a system that the AI built out that could be improved on. So let the team do it. Give them some time, usually about a week or half a week, to test out this task, try it, see what questions they come up with, and then get them to book in a meeting with you. Depending on how you're doing this, again, I don't know which stage of delegation you are, but ideally you have an EA, an executive assistant, and that person is the person that people come to when they need to book a meeting with you. Otherwise, you have a calendar link, and that's the calendar link that people use to book a meeting with you. So somebody books a meeting with you, just a 30-minute meeting, and they come and they run the meeting. This is really important. You do not run the meeting. The most important thing during this whole process is you take your hands, you pop them in your pockets, you let them do it. We are empowering them to be more responsible, to be leaders in your industry. That is the whole point of delegation, is we want other people to do things for you so that you don't have to do them yourself, so you can get on with building and growing your business and your revenue. So now they're having a meeting with you. They have a list. They're like, okay, I tried this. This didn't work. I actually need access to this. Da, 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 da. And your job is just to sit back and go, oh, okay, and answer any of their questions, give them access to anything they need, connect them with anyone they need, and just make sure that everything that they have is correct. And from there, you're sort of like, okay, cool. So now we fully understand it. You have a team member who's gone through the system, tried it, understands it, asked some questions, got those connections, got that accessibility that they needed, et cetera, et cetera. And that's great. And then from there, you say, perfect. Now, you, the team member who's been given the task, your job, and this is the last thing, is to go ahead and update and build out the systems and processes doc for the system. So they use the ChatGPT as a base. They make adjustments based on what you've said during the meeting. By the way, pro tip, make sure they always record meetings with you. You cannot guarantee they're going to remember everything. It is not your job to say it multiple times. Make sure that they are always recording meetings with you so that they can go back and listen to the meeting version of you and what you said, and they don't have to ask you again and again and again. So their job, listen to that recording, look at the ChatGPT, go through the system again, update an SOP, and then when they have a systems and processes doc that they are pretty confident is correct and is going to work, then they can send it to you. You can just have a quick read through, say, yep, that looks good, that looks fine, tick, tick, tick. Now, this is the thing that they are going to be using every day for their task. So from now on, when this task is not being done, then you're going back to the systems and processes doc. You're saying, hey, remember that systems and processes doc that you very much built out and very much have responsibility for? Where in it does it say that it doesn't happen on Fridays? Because I'm pretty sure we said that it was happening on Fridays. Or where does it say that we speak about it like this, or that you send the outreach message like that? All of that kind of stuff, go back to the process doc, update the process doc. You're always doing that. So now you have a home base for all of your tasks. And for so many business owners, when I work with them on this particular struggle, the feeling they have when we get to this point is relief. Massive, massive relief, because they've finally been able to take these tasks off their plate. They're not doing it in a way that's not going to work with their executive functioning struggles. It's easy. It's simple. It's just like, okay, I might have a team. Things might be happening. That's amazing. That's kind of the situation that we often find ourselves in. And, from there, the next step, which is what we do with all those systems and processes, I have a process for that. Don't you worry. So I will be teaching you that as we go on. Please let me know what you liked about this episode. It's just a little short episode trying to teach you some practical systems. Like I said, you can go ahead and you can DM me on Instagram if you want this information. You can click the link below. I'm going to give you a full playbook to make sure that you have everything that you need to get started on this. But yeah, happy delegating. And remember, you can do everything in an ADHD friendly way. You do not have to do it in a way that doesn't fit your brain. You can be organized, even if you struggle with chaos. And that's what I want for you. See you guys later. Bye.